Hello everyone, my name is Donna Currie and I'm the Digital Subscription and Technology Analyst with DPI, and I'm currently the Product Manager for EBSCO and Britannica. This session is a recap of what was covered at NCBOLD, but it's also an on-demand webinar for anyone who wants to get started with Britannica. I will make a separate video for EBSCO, so if you don't need help with Britannica, feel free to stop this video and go to the next one. But this is an on-demand video for learning how to use Britannica. It's a recap of what was done with NCBOLD, and it's getting started for you. So I'm going to turn my picture off just because once I start recording, it does get a little glitchy sometimes. I'm just going to cut my camera off for now. But thank you for joining us, and I'm happy to have you. So the session that was presented at NCBOLD is We've Got It All, and you can too. The link to this presentation is, I'll shrink this just so you can see it, is bit.ly/NCBOLD in all caps, the number 1 D Currie 2023. So that's bit.ly/NCBOLD in all caps, number 1 D Currie in 2023. And I do have that in the bottom of just about every single screen as we go. Like I said, in this particular video, we'll focus on just Britannica, and then I'm breaking this in 2 parts. So if you need help with EBSCO, that will be in the next one. So what we're going to learn to do in these 2 videos is you're going to learn how to explore, find, and share resources from the largest digital subscription in North Carolina. Subscriptions from EBSCO and Britannica are provided by the state and accessible to you for no additional charge. This session is going to show you how you can use eBooks, encyclopedias, magazines, journals, research databases, and more. This first part of the video will focus on the encyclopedias found in Britannica. In order to access these resources, you will need to be able to log into NCBOLD. So if for some reason you don't have your login information, you might want to pause this video and go ahead and get that information. So what this particular video is going to do is we are going to show you how to access the resources. We're going to look at Britannica. We're going to look at what's included. You're going to learn how to personalize it and how to explore. And then I will show you the resource toolkit for you to view later. And then I'm going to skip to wrapping it up. Like I said, second video will focus on EBSCO, so some of the beginning information will be the same there as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So how do you access these digital subscriptions? Well, you must access the subscriptions in NCBOLD. That is the only way to access them. If you previously used these, you may have referred to these as NCBOLD. NCBOLD was a great resource, and that password was compromised, and our resources were being used literally all across the world. And also, when students logged in, it was not differentiated by grade level. It was not personalized by grade level. So by placing it in NCBOLD, this makes sure that passwords do not get compromised, because students and teachers all have their own login information, and therefore people outside of North Carolina would not be able to access these resources, but yet everyone can access, and it is authenticated based on their grade in NCBOLD. Students in younger grades can scan QR codes to get in. That is an option for your district. If the directions for print QR codes, if you cannot follow that directions, that probably means your district did not opt in, and these are directions for your district to do that. So if you can't follow these directions, and someone from leadership from your district would have to complete these directions in order to do that. If a teacher shares links with students, if it's in a learning management system on a Google Doc, however they might happen to share, they still have to be logged into NCBOLD. Your students have to log in to access these resources, even if you share a direct link with them. The first time you do access NCBOLD, you may have to claim your account. Directions for claiming your account can be found here. But what happens if you have someone in your district who doesn't have an NCBOLD account, such as a student intern or a contract person who works with students on a daily basis? They can be granted access to these resources through a non-payroll account or an NCED-sponsored account. And whoever manages NCBOLD from your district should be able to help you with that. However, if they need help with that, please have them reach out to me and I can send them step-by-step directions. But your district is the authority on who they do allow to have access to this outside of students and teachers. So that would be a discussion to have with them. So once again, we are going to start with Britannica. So Britannica is part of the NC Wiseout platform, and what we're going to find in Britannica is we have access to Britannica School. You have access to those encyclopedia articles. You have access to images, videos. Britannica Escolar and Britannica Moderna are the Spanish version, and they are written in the native Spanish language, which is better than Google Translate. Sometimes with Google Translate, grammar and vocabulary doesn't always convey correctly, but Escolar and Moderna are written in the native Spanish language. And there's also the built-in Merriam-Webster unabridged dictionary. I will show you how to access all of these as we explore. Once we do get into Britannica School, these are some things that you can do to personalize for your students. They automatically go to a certain platform depending on what grade they're in, kindergarten through 5th, open up in the elementary part, 6 through 8, open in the middle school part, and the high school 9th through 12th open in that part as well. You can pick reading levels for your students. You can filter by lexile. You can adjust your font size. You can choose to read aloud. You can translate any article with Google Translate. Just be aware, sometimes Google Translate does not always convey grammar and vocabulary correctly, but it is a great option if you need to do that for students who don't speak English. We also have the Spanish versions, as I've shared before. We're also going to be able to cite our sources, teaching our students it's okay to borrow ideas as long as we give credit. If you use Google Classroom or you use Google Drive, there is the Google Classroom and Google Drive integration button that is within Britannica School. But you can share links with any learning management system. It doesn't just have to be Google Classroom. You would just copy the URL and paste it. And then we're going to search for articles, images, videos, and more. So these are some things you're going to see as we explore. These are some things that I'm going to point out in each area. So when you are in here, these are just some things you might want to check out. So I'm going to go into each category and show you what's in each. If you only teach a certain grade level, I'm going to start with elementary. You might want to skip a little bit if you teach middle or high, but I am going to show you in each place. There are some things in middle school that I think are beneficial for just about any grade level, so you might want to check out that part no matter what you do teach. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to access these resources. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to log into NCEdCloud, and then you're going to look for the Britannica icon. Yours says Britannica staff. Your students just say Britannica. You're going to click on this icon. They are in alphabetical order, so it should be towards the top of your list. Once I log into Britannica School as an educator, it takes you to the 3-circle page. You'll see you have an icon for elementary, middle, and high. Your students do bypass this screen. If they're in kindergarten through 5th grade, it's going to open them to what you see when I click here. If they're in 6th through 8, it's going to open up to what you see when I click here. And 9th through 12th or super seniors will appear when I click here. So elementary students will automatically go to this page. This is a dynamic page. I don't like the eye staring at me, so I'm just going to refresh this page. But it is dynamic, so the picture in the background will change. You will know your students are on the right page because you'll see the word elementary behind Britannica School. If you have students who maybe have 5th grade students and they can handle advanced reading levels and they are okay with higher content and reading that higher content and understanding, any student can click on the word Britannica School and it will get them to the 3-circle page. Just be aware that based on their grade level in NCEdCloud depends on what page they open into. So if you know what you want to search, I would definitely just type it in the search box and get started. Once you type in the search box, it's going to help you narrow down your search. But that is if you know what you want to type or what you want to search for. The rest of the page is a dynamic search. And imagine when you go into a bookstore or you go into a media center and there are displays set up. And the idea is to get students interested and have them click and have them want to read something. So this in the news section, that is going to change weekly. So these pets make us howl. So, you'll see some information about in the news, and this is going to be an article. Like I said, changes every week. You're going to have the option to play games that go along with this. It's usually some type of word search, anagram, crosswords. There is a word of the day that goes along with the article, and then there's fun facts. So as you look, you'll see you have this article, and it's all about pets. And then you'll see that there may be some additional pictures that you can look at as you're reading. There's some fun facts that usually go along with the title. You will also see as you scroll down that there's going to be a word of the day. The word of the day does come from the article. And then you will see that there's a gameplay, and this one just happens to be I guess, rearrange the attempt each letter. Letters will be shown in 3 colors. So you've got these games that go along with words that are in the story. So you do have the words that are found in the story to help increase your vocabulary. If you like this style, you can go back and see previous, if you missed, or in the news. So there's a list down here, and then you can see all past ones. So if you like this format, you can do this. This is one of the few things that does not have the built-in read aloud for you. But it does help with students reading, and maybe a good, once a week thing for your students to come in and learn about something that's interesting in the news right now. I'm going to close this tab, going back to my main page. Once again, whatever's in this section, since this is probably about pets, this is all about pets. Like I said, last time I looked, it was different, so this is going to change, and you can learn more about pets, or maybe even some jobs opportunities if you want to learn about that. No matter what platform you're in, there is an Explore section. You'll see this in elementary, middle, and high. If you don't know what you want to search for, this is like you're kind of walking into the bookstore or the media center and you go to that section. So maybe I want to read about something. So you're going to click on articles. As you click on articles, you're going to see that there are some tiles that open. Maybe I want to learn about plants and living things. It's going to help you narrow down your search. As I click on this, you're going to see it narrows it down even more on the left. So maybe I want to learn about flowers. And then once it can't narrow it down anymore, you're going to see that there's just a list of articles in the middle. And you can click on one, anything in blue will open up to that article. And then once you open up, you're going to see some of those personalization features that I just showed you. When you're in elementary school, the read aloud is right here. So if I click this, it's going to read it aloud for me. If you change reading levels, just be aware it'll probably change you to middle school. So I'm going to click level 2. You'll see it did change me to middle school, which is fine. If your students can handle reading upper level material, that's fine. But if not, I'm just going to click back. You're going to see here that if you wanted to print this for some reason, you could print it, but it doesn't have all the extra information on the side. If you wanted to email this site to someone, you could email it to them. You could cite your sources. It's going to default to MLA, but you can also choose any of these other 4. And then if you are citing this, you're going to see that the article is automatically hyperlinked. So if your students are doing research, then you could come quickly in here and see where they got their information. And they could copy paste this on a document, or write it down on paper if they happen to do that. If you have students who are visually impaired, you can increase their font, you can decrease their font. You'll see that you also have this translate option. There's over 80 different translations that this can be translated to. You just click this and choose what language that you would want to translate that to. If you do use Google Classroom, you'll see that there's this share to Google Classroom icon, and this is going to allow you to pick your class. And then you can choose if you want to create an assignment, ask a question, make an announcement, or just share material with your students. So you could share this, and then you could even personalize even more and decide which group of students get this particular article. Close this tab. And then if you wanted to save it to your Google Drive, you could. It will create a folder in your Drive. Once again, it's just going to create like a text document. It will not include all of the pictures and all the extra things that you might see on the page. But you can save it to your Drive. The first time you do it, it's going to ask for permissions for Google Classroom and Google Drive and ask you permissions to use those. So just be aware the first time that may take just a little bit longer. These are some things you'll see anytime you click on any article in blue. But maybe as your students are reading, you see something that they see a word they don't understand. They can double click the word, and then the built-in Merriam-Webster dictionary is going to appear. You're going to see the word, you're going to see the definition, and most of the time it'll have the little speaker here so it can read it out loud for you. Not always. I found a couple where that little speaker does not appear, but as you click this, this will read the whole article, but it's not always in each individual word. So no longer will students have to worry about reading and not knowing what a word is. They can click on it and learn what that word is. Okay, I am going to go back to elementary to get back to the main elementary page. That's what happens when you click on articles. When you click on pictures, you're going to see that you have these same tiles. I'm going to click on plants and living things. Once again, I'm going to click on flowers. You can narrow it down any way you want to. And then you're just going to see a list of pictures and or videos that might go along with what you are looking for. And then I'm going to go back to the word elementary. We also have the biography section. I did not care for the biography section, the elementary part. It's just some alphabet tiles. If you knew who you wanted to search for, I would just recommend doing that at the top on the search page, rather than just finding a list of people whose last name starts with the letter C. So I guess if they're just randomly letting someone pick something for them, or they just want to browse different people whose last name start with C, but other than that, I would just search in the main search box at the top. So this is just not one of my favorite platforms once you get in here. It is more beneficial when you get to the upper platforms for Britannica School. You'll also see here that there will be a video of the week. So this is some information about Labor Day. This will change weekly. Britannica Fundamentals is great for students who are early learners. You'll notice that once you click on Britannica Fundamentals, that this might be good for a center in your classroom. Maybe have at the beginning of the school year, it'll get you through a few days of school. It won't get you through the whole year. And it's just taking its time loading. Once you get in Britannica School, you're going to see there's a read section, explore, play, and create. Read section does talk to you. So as you come in here, you'll see that there's only 5 books. But as you click on each book and you click start, it's going to read the books to you, and it's going to highlight the words in red. So as I'm not certain, sometimes you can't hear the books reading aloud when I'm presenting, but as it does present, or as it reads, it does highlight the words in red. So this will be 5 books that you can read with your students. When you click on Explore, it's going to talk about the biomes of the world. Biomes are also something that's talked about in 4th and 5th grade. It's a quick little map. It does color coding, so you can see the tundra is up here at the top in that dark blue. The taiga is in purple, your deciduous forest, and it's going to highlight each one. You'll notice that there's a video that appears that you can play to learn about this. You can see where it's located in the world, and these little pins will give you additional pictures that talk about that particular biome. Just again, introduction to biomes. There's also some games that'll play. There's a few math games, a few language arts games, and they are like a game show type game. And then there's the whiteboard. So if your students, you want to just give your students a chance to express themselves that way, they can. Britannica Fundamentals is not large. There's not a whole lot of materials in here, but it is a great resource, especially if you're a new teacher or you just need something quickly that you can log in. Those 5 stories will get you through 5 days of reading with your students. Just be aware that it is here and available to you. I'm going to close that tab. Excuse me. I'm going to go back to Britannica Staff and Fundamentals. There's not a real easy way to get back other than hitting the back arrow a lot of times. So I just went back to NCBOLD, and then I'm clicking back on Elementary. Okay, and the next part is Animal Kingdom. So once again, remember this is those displays. This is what is made to get your attention, to make you want to click and learn more. So you can view animals by animal group, habitat, or an A to Z list. If I click animal group, you'll see that it narrows it down by different groups. I can click arrow to see more. So maybe I want to learn about other sea animals. And just like before, when you click, it's going to give you a list of articles at the bottom. And all of these animals will be sea creatures from other sea animals. So I can click, and all of these things I showed you before, once you click on a word, you're going to see here, there's reading levels, the read aloud. On the side, if you happen to see related, and I didn't click this a second ago, if there's additional resources to go along with this, they will appear here. And if there's any websites, they will appear here as well. Just be aware that when you click on other websites, this particular one didn't have any, these will take you outside of Britannica, and these sites could be blocked by your district. Your district is the authority on what websites they allow to have open, and sometimes these websites do have ads because remember, Britannica is used worldwide. But if you see a website that's here that is blocked by your district, that would be a discussion to have with your district. I'm going to go back, and those things I showed you before, all of these citing your sources, increase font, decrease font, translate, Google Classroom, Google Drive are still available. I'm going to go back. And back one more. So you can see animals from group, you can see by habitat, you can see by animals A to Z, and this will just give you a list. But this is once again if you're just browsing. I'm going to click Elementary again. The last section that is in the elementary page, you'll see that you have the geography section. You'll see the World Atlas, the Compare Countries, the Tour of the USA, the Geography Explorer, which is a game. Compare Countries is going to give you a chance to pick 2 different countries. It's going to give you a list of their government, their money, the languages they speak. It just says in a quick little list. I'm just going to choose the first two. You'll see it automatically gives you like a quick rundown of these two countries. If you click articles and media, it's going to divide this up and it's going to give you a list of articles that go along and images that go along with each country. So you can click on those to learn more. So they've already separated it for you, just make it a little bit easier for you to learn those. Go back. The World Atlas and the Tour of the USA, you will find those in all different categories. So if you click on World Atlas, you're going to see that it's going to give you a map. So think about you're learning about landforms or you're reading about a different place. Our students may never have left the city that they live in or the county that they live in. So when you're reading about these places or you're reading a novel to your students or learning about landforms, they don't have those personal connections to make these places relevant. So maybe you're learning about what landforms, or you're reading a novel and someone gets lost in the Grand Canyon. And for someone who's never seen the mountains or anything like that, they might just think it's like a large ditch. They can't make those connections. So if you know what you want to look for, what you're studying, click this. Think of people who've never been to New York City. They can't imagine those skyscrapers. It's going to give you a map. It's going to zoom you into the place you look for. And if you've never played around with Little Peg Man, you can click your Little Peg Man and drag him around. And anywhere that someone has been where they have taken a 360 image, it's going to highlight in blue, and you can drop him. So I am going to, I don't know, just drop him over here. I've not explored this place right here. So let's just drop him. So as I drop my Little Peg Man, I can spin around and I can see what it would look like at that particular place. And now I can see just how massive this is. Then you can see those landforms. You can see those places that you're reading about in your novel. And now your students have that image that they can make in their head to make those necessary connections. So if you've never played around with Peg Man, please feel free to do that. If you want to go get another one, you just press escape. You can type in the name of another place. You can do this with Tour of the US or the World Atlas. The Britannica Escolar, remember that is the encyclopedia that's written in the native Spanish language, and then students could come in here and search as they need to. But I'm just going to click back. So far, I've shown you all of these different things for just browsing. Maybe you don't have anything specific in mind, but you're just browsing. But if you know what you want to look for, you can come up here. And since pets just happens to be below, I'm just going to type in pets. So when I search for something, the only way the Lexile filtering button appears is if you actually type in the search box. If you type in the search box, the Lexile filtering will appear. It's like a little sliding scale. So you can narrow this down for your students. Right now I have 71 articles. If I narrow that down, now it takes me down to 45 articles. But just be aware that the only way for that to appear is if you type in the search box. When you're just clicking and browsing and opening things, while you can change reading level, you can't change Lexile level. So now I'm in here. I'm learning about pets. I can see articles that deal with pets. There's images that deal with pets. Videos that deal, if there were some, they would be here. And then sometimes you can click more. Sometimes you can find some dictionary words. If you do find magazine, usually it's just a text, not pictures. Then you can choose web-based sites if there were any. I'm going to go back to articles. You'll see now I only have increased font and decreased font, but once I actually open the article, then all of those other things I showed you before will appear. So that is the elementary section of Britannica School. Like I said, if you know what you want to search for, I would definitely type that in. But I know that as an adult, I'd really just like to scroll through and find things of interest, and those pictures are what draw me in. So that might be something for your students to do too, just to encourage them to read. I'm going to go back to Britannica School. I'm going to go to the middle section. Some of the things will be the same. If you know what you want to search for, I would definitely just recommend typing that as we did before. You'll see here that there's some, was that a question mark in space? So you've got this in the news. Once again, the in the news, this is in the middle school platform as well. This does change on a daily basis. You can talk about a glacier scientist. Once again, something that students just might want to read and learn about. I do want to show you a little bit different when you search here. So just because scientist is down here, I'm going to search for scientist. If you type in the search box, remember that's how you get your Lexile filtering. You also see that when you're in the middle school, you have this advanced filtering, so you can narrow this down. All the words exact, any of the words, you can narrow down your search even more if I had more than one word. You're going to see here that you have your articles, your images, your videos, more. I'm hoping that it'll show you some websites. So this particular one does have websites set up here, but just remember, as you get in here, you may find that something is blocked and your students can't see it. Just be aware that that would be a discussion to have with your district if that website happens to be blocked. Don't be afraid to click the more. There's always things hidden in there. Like I said, there might even be magazines in here. But you'll notice that usually when you get in, it's usually just a lot of text and not pictures to go along with it. But it is an additional source for your students. I'm going to click back. Once I do click go to articles, I'm going to click on an article to open it. And you'll see here, those same things that were in elementary school are also in middle school. The send to, in order to get Google Classroom to appear, you have to hit the send to, and then you have the email, the Google Classroom, the Google Drive. So they are hidden just a little bit, but if you use Google Classroom integration, that's fine. If you don't use Google Classroom, then you can just copy the URL at the top and share. You'll see the cite button. It's always that check mark. Once again, it does have the 4 citation styles. It does default to MLA. And then you'll see the translate option. The listen button is here at the top, whereas before it kind of broke down each little piece, and then you have the increase your font and the decrease your font. So they're at the top of the page and not to the side, just so you are aware that they are a little bit different. I'm going to go back to the word middle school. So if you know what you want to type, you can just type it in the search box or search for, type it in the search box and get started. Remember, in the news does change weekly, and this information under the in the news changes weekly as well. Remember, I had told you before, every section has the article, the Explore section, articles, videos, pictures, and biographies. It's very similar to the page that we were just on. So if I click on articles, you'll see that I have tiles. The tiles are slightly different. There's a few more tiles here. Maybe I want to learn about Earth and geography. You can see, as before, it narrows it down on the left, and maybe I can narrow this down to continents. Then it's going to bring up information about continents, and I can click on a continent, and then it's going to open up and show you all of those features I just showed you before. You can change your reading level. The only one that I've seen that it always jumps you to is when you're in elementary and change. The other ones do change reading levels within that platform. So you'll see all of those features I just showed you before. Go back to middle school. If you needed to search a picture or video, and you do Earth and geography, just like before, this helps you narrow it down, the continents, and then you can find some media that deals with continents, and so you'll find that area there. Going to go back to middle school. Going to click on biographies this time. So biographies in elementary, I told you, was not one of my favorite. But once you get to the other levels, you can search by era. You can search by National Cultural Association or what they're known for. You can even narrow it down male, female. And then this will help you narrow down if you're looking for someone. So this is a little bit more user-friendly features than just clicking on someone whose last name starts with C. So if you need to look up someone, this is a great place to start doing that. But if you actually know the name, once again, I would just use the search box at the top. I'm going to go back. The video of the week obviously does change. You can see I'm recording this at Labor Day, so this has something to do with Labor Day. One thing that is in the middle school collection that is not in the other collections is the collections at a glance. I think this could be beneficial for just about any grade level, at least helping narrow down content. So what Britannica has done for you is they have already gathered and made lists of information for you. So you can see here that this is talking about dinosaurs at a glance. It was different last week, but if you know that you're going to have your students do research and you're going to narrow down the topic but give them choice within the topic, I would definitely glance at these collections. So remember, we're at collections at a glance. I'm going to click on more at a glance collections. And you're going to see here that there's at least 7 pages where they have already gathered collections for you. So maybe you know that you want your students to research a scientist, or you want your students to research a president or a first lady or the solar system. There's mathematicians in here. There are diseases. But you can have, I'm just going to click dinosaurs at a glance because that happens to be their theme right now. But if you click on one of these collections that they already have made for you, it's going to give you a description at the top, and then you're going to have a list of all of these different dinosaurs that your students could click and learn about. So it just narrows it down for you, and they've already gathered a list. And every time you click on one of these words, it's going to take you to an article about that particular dinosaur. So I'll definitely check out these collections. No matter what grade level you teach, you could have them find a dinosaur and then go open it up in their appropriate platform. Or if your students are finding middle school, that's good as well. But collections is something that is only in the middle school platform. The Did You Know section, this also changes weekly. So there's something interesting. Once again, get our students to want to click and read. The Compare Countries and Territory, that's very similar to what I showed you just a few minutes ago in elementary. You just type in your 2 countries, and obviously the reading articles are going to be different. They've already just found something for you. So you could just come in here, type in your countries, and what appears based on, your grade level, and not only can you do some statistics about it, but you can also go to those articles and the media and just learn more. And also the World Atlas and the Tour of the USA, I showed you that with a little peg man. Remember, type in a place, drag your man, and allow him to go in there and explore something. Something else that's in the middle school platform that is not as easily accessible in the other two is this list of primary sources. Teaching your students about primary and secondary sources, and they already have pages, at least 3 pages of all of these primary sources already available to you, and they're already gathered within one place. You're always welcome to search for these in any platform. However, they just already organize them here for you, so you don't have to look for those. And that is something else that is only in the middle school platform. And then you have access to that Britannica Escolar. However, if you have like a middle school student, maybe 8th grade, and they can handle Moderna, this is the other encyclopedia written in the native Spanish language. So you also have Encyclopedia Moderna, which is here. And then if you just wanted to access the dictionary, you could find that here. And that was in the elementary platform as well. So some of the features are the same. You'll see it just looks a little different when you get in. And like I said, middle school has this collections at a glance, which is not found in the other platforms. And this entire list of primary sources is not found in the other platforms as well. Last thing I want to do is show you what it looks like when you are in the high school platform. So once you get to the high school platform, you are going to see that when they did upgrade these about 6 months ago, the high school platform did not change. You'll see that the search box is over here to the right. It's not a great big search box like it was in the other. So if you know what you want to look for, once again, I would just come in here and I would type this. I think I just searched scientist last time, so I'm just going to search that because I have it saved. When you search, you're going to see you have those features. Remember, Lexile only appears if you use a search box. You have the advanced search. You can narrow it down to contain all of the words, some of the words. You're going to see that as we get more or to a high school level, obviously the Lexile is going to be higher. You'll see that you have the articles you can pick from. You have the images that you can look at. You have videos that you can look at. They're all related to this. Remember, don't be afraid to check out more. You might find some information here as well that you can look at, but remember, they may be blocked. So once you click on any article, I'm just going to click on virus. You're going to see that if there's any picture that goes along with it, it will appear here. Remember, if you wanted to send it to, it does have that Google Classroom and Google Drive option. And you may hear me repeat things if you've watched everything, but remember, I tell people they could fast forward if they wanted to. If you don't use Google Classroom, then you can always copy the URL and share that in any learning management system. But remember, your students have to be logged in before they can do that. If they want to cite their sources and you're doing research, remember there's a cite button, automatically defaults to MLA, but you can choose your different levels. If you need to translate this to another language, you have a student who does not speak English who's come to your class, you can translate this into whatever language they may speak, but beware, just because a student speaks a language does not mean they can read that language. And remember, Google Translate doesn't always convey everything properly. For students who are visually impaired, you can increase, decrease the font, and it will read aloud for you if your students need that information. Before, as I've shown you, if your students are reading and there is a word that they do not know how to say or don't know what it means, then double click. It's going to give the word, it's going to give a definition, and it's going to most of the time give you the option to say that word aloud for you. So there's no reason for your students to read articles when they don't know what they're reading about. Remember, you can change the level of the article. Just remember that the content does become less as it narrows down. You can see this went to a very small article, whereas before it was much more in-depth, but trying to get to those reading levels. Just be aware you do lose access to some content when you do that. So that is what you would do if you know what you want to search for. You would just type the search box. Science and pictures. This picture has been here for a while. They used to update these every few weeks, but this has been here for a little while. But if you want to learn about the prism, you could. Every level, remember, has the articles, images, videos, and biographies. This is when you don't know what you want to learn about. You're just trying to narrow it down. So I can click, remember, it's this way in every platform. Then maybe I want to learn about technology. So you can click on the tile. If you can narrow it down any more on the left, it will allow you to do that. So maybe I want to learn about agriculture. And then it's going to allow me to narrow it down even more. Maybe I can learn about agricultural technology. And once it can't narrow it down anymore, then you'll see that you have your articles in here that you can click on. And once you click on that article, remember in blue gets you to the article. All of those things I showed you before. The send to, which is going to be your Google Classroom, your Google Drive. You could print it, you could cite, translate, listen, have it read aloud for you, increase or decrease your font. This particular one only has one reading level. That means there's no way to change that reading level. There's not a comparable article for that. I'm going to go click high school just to get back. If you wanted to look at images or videos, once again, you're going to see that you have those same tiles you saw when you saw articles. I'm just going to click on technology again. I'm going to click on agriculture, agricultural technology, and so these are images and videos that go along with that search. I'm going to go back to the word high school to get back to my main page. Biographies, this is very similar to the biography search we saw when we were in middle school. The middle school platform. Remember, if you want to search by a certain era, narrow it down, search by national or cultural association, what they're famous for, you can narrow down this as well. But if you know if you want to search for, I would just go back to the main screen or just type in the search box if you know. But if you're trying to browse and narrow it down, I would do that. So on this day, this is going to change daily based on something that was relevant that went on during that day. We don't have in the news in high school, but we do have flash facts, and these do change weekly. Once again, it's just information to get your students to want to click and read and see what's here. If you like the way this looks, then you can click to learn to see the previous ones from past weeks. Usually there's a famous quote here that is relevant to your students. And then the compare countries, as we saw in the elementary and middle platform. Remember, you can just click here, type in 2 countries, learn about their statistics or articles divided up by each. And then the word atlas, remember you can tour the USA, explore the atlas, and then remember you can type in any place, put little pegman there, and then turn pegman around to see different places. There are a few primary sources that are listed here. However, there's not all of them as you found in the middle school platform. So if you're encouraging your students to use primary sources, remember even students can click on the word Britannica School. They could go to the middle school platform and then they would have access to all of these primary sources. I'm not quite certain why they didn't put it in the high school group, but just making sure you are aware that that is an option, that any student can change levels by clicking on the word Britannica School. And then there's just some new and revised articles if you want to see something that they may have changed or expanded more to. So once you learn the main way the platforms work, you can see like the Google Translate, the increase your font, decrease your font, cite your sources, all of that are the same no matter what platform you're looking in. So the first time you are in, I would definitely recommend just exploring some of these things that I've shown you. Now would be a good time to maybe pause the video and look at these, or when we're finished. But I'm going to skip ahead right now. The resource toolkit, if you've never had a chance to use the resource toolkit, this is going to show you some additional ways that you can use Britannica with your students. The resource toolkit is also found in NCBOLD. There's videos, presentations, tutorials. Cynthia Sartain, who manages platform before me, did a great job of using this. The grade bands, I'm going to talk more about that with the EBSCO content, because grade bands don't necessarily matter as much when you are talking about Britannica. But I do want to show you, when you were in NC Ed Cloud, in alphabetical order towards the bottom, you'll see Resource Toolkit. You'll see the light bulb, the gear, or the wrench. Once you click on this, you're going to open up to this page, and all this is a Canvas course that shares information. It's not really a course, we just share resources. If you click on Educators, you will see that there are some additional information about Britannica School. So if you wanted to click here and learn more, you could click and learn more about Britannica School. So that's all that I would focus on now. If you're just learning about Britannica for the toolkit, I will show you more of that as we are going on to EBSCO. So since I said this video was going to focus on just Britannica, I do want to go ahead and just let you know about the email list. If you would like to get updates, announcements, product features, webinars, which I'll be sharing those webinars out with you probably this week, to log in to learn more. This is an on-demand video, so you can just watch it whenever you wanted to. But we will be hosting those during the month. Please fill out this form. It just comes from me. It's not like you're going to get a lot of spam emails or anything like that. And if you're not certain if you are on the list, if you click the join and you're already up there, I will definitely let you know. So to get to the presentation, remember, go to bit.ly/NCBOLD in all caps, the number 1, Currie 2023, and make sure you get added to my email list. This video was about Britannica. And so if you want to learn more about EBSCO, make sure you check out the second video. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, my contact information is on this first slide, or the second slide. And it is, sorry, I can't see it right now, but it is donna.currie@dpi.nc.gov. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I hope you all have a great year.